Within the universe of Mike Pondsmith's Cyberpunk, the idea of fair and just policing systems has long been corrupted. The corporations and governments that run the world are no longer held accountable for the atrocious acts they commit and their unprovoked aggression towards innocent people. Whether it be local police forces, Max Tech, or Trauma Team, they all have their fair share of corruption and twisted priorities. The cyberspace of the net happens to be no different. The worldwide net policing organization known as NetWatch happens to be corporate funded, an entity by the corpos and for the corpos, doing its fair share of evil. Being known to use unnecessary lethal force, alienate innocent netrunners, spy on citizens around the world, and overall overstep the boundaries they are supposed to abide by. While this organization essentially acts as an extension of corporate rule, it still does what is expected of them, patrolling the net in order to prevent illegal activity and even containing dangerous rogue AI after the Datakrash. There is certainly a need for NetWatch to exist, but the average person would clearly be more enthusiastic if they didn't carry with them such a harmful reputation. Well, there's an extremely prominent NetWatch agent that agrees with this ideal, one that is an extremely skilled netrunner, well respected, and could even be considered a rival to the Night City legend Rache Bartmoss. This agent goes by the name Magnificent Curtis. This man single-handedly carries NetWatch's much more positive goals on his back. A man who is often described as being fair and just, traits that become increasingly rare in the grim world of Cyberpunk 2077. So just what are his origins, and how did he come to be renowned amongst the likes of legends such as Bartmoss and Spider Murphy? This is the complete lore thus far. This is everything you need to know about Magnificent Curtis. Let's begin. The widely used IG protocol net is composed of large ambiguous sections of the net that shares the same basic default environments. These areas are called regions and happen to have constantly shifting borders depending on the influence exerted by governments and influential groups. Thanks to the IG transformation algorithms, net space is analogous to real space, almost like an alternate dimension. One of these many regions is the Pacifica region, and when I say Pacifica, it isn't in reference to the failed startup district of Night City. No. It's in reference to the ocean. Pacifica covers all of the Pacific Ocean pole to pole, meaning the majority of regions around this area are one with the Pacifica region of the net. I say majority because it doesn't include South America or Japan. This area is a stylized version of a real ocean, with glowing fish shapes and other sea life, complete with dolphin programs to patrol and clean up garbage data, even allegedly tattling on any criminal activity they see. So this region is beautiful, considered one of the all-around best regions of the net. But it might actually not be that way if it weren't for a single man, Magnificent Curtis. He was responsible for creating the Pacifica branch of NetWatch, which at the time didn't really exist. It had just been a few NetWatch runners patrolling the area from their decks on the other side of the world. What makes the creation of this branch all the more mysterious is he just showed up one day and created the Pacifica branch of NetWatch. There isn't much, if anything, to find out about his past. An unpleasant discovery for any netrunners looking to get under his skin and sabotage his control. This clearly doesn't just happen accidentally either. It's extremely likely that this erasure of identity is not only to protect himself, but others he is involved with, a procedure that accurately reflects who he is. Curtis is a netrunner hailing from Fiji, and running the whole operation out of the island as well. It's become their main base of operations, and as a result, this small island has some of the best security around. Back when Magnificent Curtis began his net running career, he had actually adopted the handle Rocky. Just like the majority of famed legends around the world, his reputation didn't just fall into his lap. He was known for his attitude and approach towards NetWatch runners. He wanted them to be perfect. To give them a goal to strive for, he tried to be perfect himself. It was because of this unique handling of netrunners that he was given the tag Magnificent Curtis by runners down in Australia, a tag he would embrace going forward. He is a man of fairness and just response, slow to lose his temper but quick to respond. His mastery of the net and his profession is made ever so clear by his approach to criminals. He is hesitant to use lethal ice and will go out of his way to take his culprits alive, only using lethal force when necessary. He has a strict regard for the laws of the land and an encyclopedic knowledge of the territorial laws of the countries covered by the Pacific region, all to make sure his netrunners never break any of these, unless empowered to do so by conditional regulations while they are in pursuit of a criminal. He likewise demands that his runners never do anything to alienate the innocent runners in the net. Under his guidance, his NetWatch branch has captured a long list of both corporate and independent criminals. They ensure that their prisoners are dealt with fairly according to the laws of the land, and not summarily executed by some angry corporate runner. The Pacifica branch of NetWatch has become a respected organization, which is very rare in the world of Cyberpunk, all because of the vision and drive of Magnificent Curtis. This branch is largely what it's supposed to be, a policeman of the net. In the Guide of a Net book, published by Rache Bartmoss and his close friend, Spider Murphy, you'll actually find that Bartmoss's comments in the Pacifica NetWatch portion of the text displays a sudden shift in tone. In comparison to other sections about NetWatch, his comments are both short and comparatively non-caustic. Spider Murphy points out that while Rache himself would never admit to it, the Pacifica region of NetWatch has the best record by far of anywhere else in the world. Still best to not get too mixed up from that information though. While the Pacifica region most definitely holds a place in Bartmoss's heart, and he doesn't project uncontrollable rage towards this NetWatch branch, it doesn't mean that Bartmoss and Magnificent Curtis would get along as chums. In fact, a lot more like the yin to Rache Bartmoss's yang. He's calm, quiet, and law-abiding, but he shares the same zeal and enthusiasm and dedication to his work as Rache. This of course means that if the two of them were ever in the same room, they'd be at each other's throats in a minute. Eventually, sometime in the 2020s, Magnificent Curtis would be made head of NetWatch. While things had seemed to be smooth sailing during his net-running career, it would unfortunately take a massive dive not long after his promotion. In 2022, during the Fourth Corporate War, the legendary Rache Bartmoss would suddenly be assassinated by Arasaka after his time aiding Militech in their Soul Killer search, a corporate decision that would spell out the collapse of the net and upcoming decades. It started out subtly, with only a few minor changes in databases, lost files, changed lines of machine code, but soon enough, it exploded into wildfire, randomly shifting, erasing, or rewriting data and destroying or altering everything it touched. It was the Datakrash, a deadly computer plague that tore the heart of the worldwide information network. In short, whereas most viruses must infect a computer system, the Datakrash was automatically loaded into every single computer that ever ran the net. The result is that there was never any chance to stop the spread of the Datakrash. At first, NetWatch was able to monitor and repair the damage as it occurred. As the chaos mounted, NetWatch's leader and top netrunner, Magnificent Curtis, realized the awful truth. Bartmoss had outgamed everyone. To stop it would have required stripping the operating system out of practically every computer and cyberdeck on Earth. Magnificent Curtis, in response, launched a campaign with NetWatch against the corruption of the net. A constant struggle to save any runner, architecture, or information possible. To make the disaster even worse, the nature of the Datakrash also allowed AI to travel through what remained of the net unimpeded. To add on to the already lethal enemies of viruses and mutated military AI, Bartmoss left yet another surprise lurking in the bowels of the net. A self-replicating virus that strongly resembled himself, based on a twisted version of the Soul Killer program and later dubbed Rabbids. These were AI killer programs that infested the net in ever great numbers. At first, they attacked only Bartmoss targets like Arasaka and EBM. As time went on, they evolved a murderous hatred of anyone they encountered. Reproducing at high speeds, they would form a deadly pack of killer programs in the hundreds of thousands, roving the net in bloodlust. The outlook of the struggle became obvious. Unable to wipe out the Datakrash and overwhelmed by rabbits, NetWatch finally gave up. On March 5th, 2023, Magnificent Curtis and the IG Overwatch Council activated IGTA Dissolution Prime, propagating a code wave that crashed the IG protocols that allowed cyberdecks and net-capable computers to reach cyberspace, essentially killing off access to the net. NetWatch would go on to spend the next 22 years acting as lifeguards for any renegade netrunners that had managed to find a backdoor into the now off-limits old net, attempting to save them before black ice essentially shreds them out of existence. In the 2040s, there would finally be a shift in the net landscape that would allow a return to the previous IG protocol net, while Cunningham and all the transcendent AI that followed her in the net made a discreet proposal to NetWatch. They would help humanity enter the net once more, and this was clearly the only chance to do so. This is why Magnificent Curtis made the decision to accept their help. Though with this secret partnership, Magnificent Curtis and his best team of netrunners were finally able to write software capable of tackling the black ice and rabbits that infested the old net. All of it tying into a secretive project between the two parties that exists completely off record, with only fabricated documents to help cover it all up. Known only by the ominous title of the Black Wall. With the sudden appearance of the Black Wall and the rogue AI finally locked behind it, humanity was able to return to the IG protocol net, with their only protection against the old net being an AI itself. And from this point on, Magnificent Curtis is yet to be brought up in another sourcebook or even 2077, at least to my knowledge. However, there's some general assumptions to make as long as he isn't dead by the time V flips Night City on its head. He likely helped to head the deal between NetWatch and Evelyn in exchange for the relic that contained Johnny Silverhand's engram. While the nature of this deal wasn't ever fully explained, it's quite possible that NetWatch wanted this relic for a few different reasons. The first conclusion most would come to is to contact Alt Cunningham. But it seems that through the 2040s they maintained a relationship with Alt, the Black Wall, and the AI under her wing. It almost seems completely contradictory for them to need the relic to contact her like the Voodoo Boys. It seems much more likely that not only would they want access to the tech itself for personal projects, but also because of its implications. NetWatch is aware of other corporations tampering with the Black Wall and forming projects to attempt to harness the power of the Black Wall and rogue AIs beyond. The idea currently is that whoever learns to control the rogue AI first will have complete control over the net, its information, and practically the world. In essence, an engram, and especially the relic's use of it, is an AI with near complete human emotions, capable of patrolling the old net unimpeded, but also thinking and feeling like a human would. NetWatch is likely investigating corps like Arasaka and Militech in an attempt to prevent all of this from happening, or, at the least, allow NetWatch to be the first to succeed in doing so. But what if I told you there's a theory that he actually is in 2077, just in the shadows where we can't see him? This entire theory takes root in the I Walk the Line quest. This is when Placide sends us to our reunion mission to enter the Pacifica atrium in search of a NetWatch agent. Eventually, your path will lead you into an abandoned cinema, one that has an old western playing up on screen. You'll find a NetWatch agent by the name Bryce Mosley in the projection room. He will tell you that the Voodoo Boys are planning to double-cross V, in which V can either side with him and have the virus removed to prevent the breach of the Black Wall, or knock him out, in which case the virus will wipe out many NetWatch facilities across the continent, including what looks to be Fiji, kills Mosley, and attempts to kill V as well. What's so off-putting about Bryce Mosley is his uncanny amount of combat cyberware. He doesn't necessarily look much like a NetWatch agent or most netrunners would. But even more so is what you can find outside the meet, near the tunnel connecting Pacifica to the rest of Night City. You can find a NetWatch body that scans with the badge. A badge that reads Bryce Mosley. So, just who is the real Bryce? The dead body, the agent we meet, or neither? It's impossible to tell, but those who spread this theory propose that Magnificent Curtis either is the agent or interfaced into the heavily cybernetic body. I would say he's obviously not the agent we meet. We already have Cyberpunk Red that has an official image of him during a corporate meeting. Well, if that's actually him, see what I'm saying here? It's impossible to know these things if our assumption is that nobody is who they say they are, or they're transmitting themselves through another body. It would definitely be interesting, but sounds pointless. Though the question still remains, who really is Bryce Mosley? And that, chooms, is all the information I have to provide to you on NetWatch's most respected agent, Magnificent Curtis. A rival to Bartmoss and a rare anomaly in the corporate corrupted world of Cyberpunk. Let me know your thoughts down below, and if this video helped further your understanding of the Cyberpunk universe. I have several other lore dives and theories lined up for Phantom Liberty, so make sure to subscribe and keep up to date. As always, thanks to all the channel members up on screen. I appreciate all the support and am grateful for the opportunity to make content for you all. Cyberpunk community is one of a kind, and seriously, thank you all so much. Make sure to have a great week, and I will see you later, chooms.